Hello, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Good day, good morning, depending on where you have joined this program right now. We have some of our people from Spain, England, Canada. Somebody joined from Australia last week. So, anyone joining us right now, I want to especially welcome you on board this program. It is titled Legacy Hut with Parenting with Akinropo. Legacy Hut with Parenting with Akinropo, or succinctly put, Legacy Hut with Akinropo. So, today's topic, we're still continuing the Fatherhood series. Good afternoon, madam from Nigeria. Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you. So I started this Fatherhood series last week. And last week we spoke about what we really need to do before we become great fathers. What we really need to do before we become great fathers. And one of those things is actually one key. And that key is, first of all, for you to become a great father, for any person at all to become a great dad or good father, the person has to, first of all, be a great man. So when we have not learned the art, or we've not mastered the art of becoming or being a great man, it is likely, we are not likely going to be great fathers, because that is the foundation. No one starts to be a great father when he or she is married, or when he starts to have children. That is not when you become a great father. You are not going to be tested on that. You're going to be tested, but many things that you should have done should have taken place. A lot of grades, a lot of activities that you must have done for you to pass effectively at fatherhood must have taken place when you were a young man. As a matter of fact, when you were a teenager. So a lot of things we were not taught on how to become great man, or how to become great men, how to become great fathers. A lot of things were not taught. Our parents taught us, but it wasn't really explainable enough. They didn't explain some wisdom behind it. They just gave it to us as a blank check. Take for instance, for you to become to become a great father, when you begin to raise your home, you begin to raise your children, that you must be financially viable. That is what they told us, which in itself, there is nothing wrong in that. But there are many other things that needed to be done that they didn't tell us. So this was part of what we discussed last week. So anyone that missed that last week episode, the video is still on my Instagram handle here. You can still watch it on what you need to do. One key, and that key is for you, the first thing you need to do is to become a great man. Then how do you become a great man? What are the filters involved for you to become a great man? So you can watch it there if you care, or you want to send to someone that really need to know what to do to become a great man. So today's topic is centered around one of the many pains that fathers go through. I am a father. The pain I want to discuss here today is something that I've gone through severally before, and I came out of it. So part of the suggested solutions that I employed, that someone coached me that I should do, is what I want to share with us today. Earlier in the day, I shared on my Instagram handle and Facebook handle about the story of a man that happened in Ibadan, Oyo State, here in Nigeria, Africa. The name of the man, so pseudonym anyway, that's not the real name, Mr. Orishe Wright. Mr. Orishe Wright. During the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic, there was a massive job loss, and this man was sacked. He was a single parent. The wife had died, so he was the only one responsible to take care of the 3 children, and he had eldest child, who is a girl, and the girl was 16. Well, I'm 17. Already written the WASC, West African School Certificate Examination, as it has applied to us here in West Africa, Nigeria. So what the lady was expecting was just to get money. The father wanted the girl to go to a private university, but alas, the man lost the job. He ran around. There was no help anywhere. He begged, he applied for 8 good months, solid months. This man was without a job. He was helpless. He was helpless. He was helpless. He didn't know what to do. The daughter was helpless. The daughter became, unruly in the home because the research have really shown that, for parents to really have, a kind of effective grip on the children, you can't displace the place of, you can't really underestimate the place of financial capacity in the way we want to bring up our children. So a lot of things didn't go down with this man, and as a result of that, depression set in until some people rose to the occasion to actually bring this man out of the challenges that he found himself. So why am I talking about this today? A lot of us fathers, we found ourselves in a particular area, in particular situations that we never bargained for. We tried to do some things right, but it didn't just work. And why this didn't work could be, ascribed to many reasons. And one of the reasons that when we found ourselves in a challenge or in challenges that looked so depressing, as someone that had to, a life-threatening challenge, one of those things that I want to talk about is, that's why I want to use a metaphor to explain that. And the metaphor I am using today to explain that is what I call emotional fuel. Emotional fuel. So what do I mean by emotional fuel? A father's future is shaped by the people closest to him. Let me say that again. Any man's future is shaped by the caliber, by the strength, by the quality of people around him. It could be women, it could be men, association, it could be groups, it could be anything. A father's future is shaped by the people closest to him. A father's personal network is what I call emotional fuel. The way it is impossible for us to run our cars, without having the fuel inside of it. This is something that I've tried before. When we first bought, when I first had my car, and this is what almost everyone does. You always want to know how strong or the tank capacity of the car that you bought. So there was a day I was just driving. I knew the fuel may not be able to take me to where I'm going, but I just wanted to know how much fuel will my tank carry at a go, as in full tank. Then if that should be the case, then how long will it carry me? For how long, the distance it will carry me. So I wanted to try, but I didn't do it on a truncated road, one state to another. I didn't do that. I just made sure that I did it within the state, in fact within the locality that I am. So in case, I will always see a place to buy fuel, right? So as I was driving, the car stopped, and I knew the reason why it stopped, because there was no fuel there. So I was stranded until I had to beckon on some guys to help me push this car to a nearby filling station where I now refueled my car. So what happened to me at that particular time is what I call I was running on an empty emotional fuel. The same way this man, Mr. Olishe Wright, grounded because he was running on an empty tank. He was running on an empty tank. So when fathers run on an empty tank, we're going to be grounded. Almost nothing will work for fathers who is running on empty tank. How is this? How will it happen? Now, the same way car runs on fuel, fathers run on fuel as well. Fathers need emotional fuel. for him to be able to work effectively in the home, because fathers spend so much time, they spend themselves so much time about themselves. They spend it on the wives, they spend it on friends, they spend it on children, they spend it on almost everybody. A father is always wants to be responsible. So our resolve to be our resolute to be responsible at times can actually either leak or spend off our emotional fuel. And when we don't have extra, when we don't have some people that will surround us, when we don't have solid network that will surround us, we are likely our emotional fuel is going to be emptied. And when it's emptied, what happens to us? We are grounded. That's exactly what happened to that man. So an average person, an average father, spent so much time just to make sure that the home front, right, is well kept. The home front is solid, that the home front does not suffer anything. So once every father does this, once we do this, what now happens is, what are we falling back on? What are we falling back on? What is the network that you, as a man, as a father, what kind of network are you keeping? So the strength of your network determines how strong your emotional fuel is. Let me say that again. The strength of the network of a father depends on how strong the emotional, how efficient, yes, let me use that word, how efficient the emotional fuel tank of that father is, because there are some unforeseen situations that will always happen, because you are not the owner of the job. If you are in a paid employment, you are not the owner of the job. Even if supposing you have your personal business, you are not really the success of that business that you run does not solely depend on your capacity alone. There are some other outside decisions. There are other external decisions, like government decisions, international. It's possible we have decided that you want to run this business. It's possible you have forecasted. It's possible we have budgeted a lot of things that we want to do. But one day, government policy will just come. Look at what happens here. What is happening in Nigeria, and a lot of people had hinged the success of their meeting. I mean, of their followers, the clients, to a social media handle, which is Twitter. All of a sudden, the government said that no, we're no longer going to allow Twitter to operate in Nigeria again, based on any reason, so known to them alone, as far as I'm concerned, right? So, in the space of 1 week now, there are some people, there are some fathers who have lost their means of livelihood. So what happens? That is exactly what we can't possibly foresee. And anything we can't possibly foresee, there will always be intended and unintended pains associated with this one. So one of those unintended pain associated with this one is loss of job. Nobody really envisaged this, even though, because we always want to be up and doing in what we do. So emotional fuel is your a father's network is the emotional fuel tank of that father. How do we work on this? How do we make this possible? How do we make sure that always our emotional fuel is, our emotional fuel tank is always at a level that we can't be that we can't be grounded, that we can't be, we can't get depressed? How does a father make sure that this happens? That is the purpose of what I'm talking about here today. Because as much as fathers spend energy to invest in the wives, spend energy to invest in the children, like I said earlier on, spend energy to invest in the association they belong, spend energy to make sure that the home front does not suffer, make sure that the external situations do not affect what is going on in the home. As much as we spend energy on this, we need to cut a network that can replenish us. As much as we spend energy, if we keep spending the energy and you don't have quality network to walk around you, to replenish you, the emotional fuel tank will always be in red. And once the emotional fuel tank is in red, there is nothing that man, that father can do again. And the children don't want to really understand this. I've said it before, severally, I had experienced zero or red emotional fuel tank. I had experienced it before, and part of what saved me is what I really want to talk about here today. The same way I've experienced it, the same way I see fathers, even presently, who are still experiencing this job loss, and at the same time, they are grounded because their emotional fuel tank is in red. I don't want any father to be in such a messy situation. No child will want to understand. As much as we really want them to understand, they will understand, but at the particular time, they don't have the enough strength to go, because we live in an environment whereby people can disdain if some children are not measured up to some standard. We can only do our own to make sure that our children don't get unnecessarily, caught up in negative peer pressure. There is a level, there is a limit that we can do in this area. So, see fathers do this, but what can we do further just to make sure that what we are talking about really has effect on us as fathers? The question someone should ask is this: why do we need emotional fuel in our relationship as fathers? Why do we need it? There are many reasons why people keep network around them. Some fathers keep network for the purpose, the fact that they don't want to be lonely, for social reasons. Some people get on Twitter, they get on Instagram, they get on Facebook for social reasons, right? Some people do it for encouragement. When they think that they are down, they need encouragement. But the network, if I have to talk about any emotional fuel tank at all, if I have to, at the purpose of why I'm doing this, just to make sure that our emotional fuel is always full, is for one reason. And that reason is because we lead our home. Every father, our first assignment is to lead our home before we begin to lead outside. There is a quote I quoted last week. I've forgotten the name of the man now, but I don't always want to remember a name, but I like the principle, and I always want to grasp the wisdom behind a quote. Those things are much more important for me than the person. If I don't know the name of the person, I will always say that, like someone rightly quoted, even though I don't know the name of the person. So the quote of that man is simple. The man said, regardless of whatever he achieved, regardless of whatever he does on this earth, if he fails in his job as a father, no other success could actually, make up for the failure that he experienced or he achieved in fatherhood. That's exactly what the man says. So because of that, there is only one reason why we must take care of our emotional fuel tank. And that reason is because we lead, or we want to lead, or we strive to lead our home. That is the best reason so far. Because we want to lead our home. That is the reason why our emotional fuel tank needs to be full, always, not going red. When the emotional fuel tank gone red or is going red, there is likelihood that unintended and intended consequences will always happen to that man. And that's why some men, they get depressed. Some fathers get depressed, and that's why some fathers, change from who they used to be before. That's why we hear that this man didn't used to behave this way. All of a sudden, he changed to his children, he changed to the wife, he changed to everyone around him. It's because the emotional fuel of that particular father is in red. He was alone. He was depressed. He tried to look for someone to encourage. He couldn't find one because he never caught a quality network for himself, so that they can actually refuel. Once the emotional fuel tank is going down, those ones will always come there to refuel. So what we need to do is simple, and I'm going to explain all those things to us in the next few minutes, because I'm going to round up. The service level agreement that I always say here is 30 minutes. Then if we have any 30 to 35 minutes, if we have any question, we can post the question. Then I respond to all those questions later, because I respect people's time, energy, and resources for them to be on this show. So you have this before your network. Your network, you've had it before, that your network is your net worth. What that means is the value to your home as fathers depend on how strong and healthy you are on the inside. When our emotional fuel is in red, once the tank is going red, depression will always set in. And once depression sets in, that means that we may actually look a glow. You know, we may look somehow healthy out on the outside, but inwardly we are empty. That's when you see that somebody just, maybe somebody commits suicide, or somebody just, slump and die. And you don't say that the man doesn't look it. He doesn't look it, because the face is always, sometimes when it hasn't gone deeper, the face will always betray what many fathers are going through. This is something that happened to me before. For like several years, I did not have a saving, no saving at all for almost 4 years. No savings at all. I was only living from my hand to mouth. I couldn't have anything because at that particular time, my emotional fuel was in red, total red. I was wrecked, was depressed, right? So coming out of that, part of the strategies that I deployed to bring myself out of it, and I make sure that I will never allow my emotional fuel tank to go red again. Because what that means is that we value, because we value our home as fathers. How we value our home as fathers, I beg your pardon, how we value our homes as fathers depend on how strong and healthy we are on the inside. Then how strong and healthy we are on the inside. You can't be strong and healthy on the inside if you don't have quality network, if you don't have quality emotional fuel tank. So when we are talking about this quality emotional fuel tank, two things will have to come into play. Those things are relationships and character. Your character level and relationship level depends so hugely on the effectiveness of your emotional fuel tank as a father. You can't just be lonely. You can't just be jobless. You can't just feel depressed if you have people around you. I mean, quality people around you. If you have them around you, you can't just, necessarily, feel depressed, because they will always come to your rescue. So what do we do? There are many things that we can do around here, according to the studies, but I want to, a few of them have been summarized to be one, but 3 areas that I want fathers to really build themselves around. If any father is watching, or women are watching, wives are watching, please, I would like us to forward this video to all fathers, even young guys who are not yet married. I think it's better for them. They need this message first, so that, because the message of last week is, you don't aspire to become a great father if you have not become a great man. You need to learn the rope of becoming the mastery. You need to have the mastery of becoming a great man before you can become a great father. So one of those things that we need to do, that a father needs to do for that father to have the emotional fuel tank filled up, is this: partner. Number one is partner. Partners. Who are the partners? You as a father, who are the partners around you? What do those partners need to do around you? They are peers. Positive. They give you positive peer pressure. They are peers who travel with you and hold you accountable. They travel around with you and they hold you accountable. About 3 or 4 weeks ago, when I was discussing about how to take care of this empowered generation that we have, our children, the Generation Z, I was talking about it, that one of those things that we need to do, that any parent needs to do, is that parent must have someone who is accountable to. Meaning that when you hear anything about social media, about internet, or you hear anything, you are not so sure about something that your child or your children are going, your teenagers are going through, always have somebody that you're accountable to, that you run this thing through that person. It is good we do that. Otherwise, we will be going brazenly in error, giving a nod to some narratives that are not just true about our children. So the same thing I'm talking about here for fathers. Who are your partners? Fathers, I ask. If your partners are not so effective, your emotional fuel will be in red. And don't forget, what is the job of these partners around you? You travel around with them and you are accountable to them. They call you to order when you are about taking a wrong step, about your decision, about your social decision about your social life, decision about your fathering style, decision about your career. You are accountable to them. They see that you are going through a wrong journey and they call you to order. If they don't call you to order, one day you will be alone. Or rather, if we don't have them around us, one day that father will be alone, like Mr. Orishe Wright, who was alone for 8 months. He was jobless. The children became something else because there was no money. The daughter started thinking something else because the daughter was brilliant. The daughter made sure that, and the daughter was so gassed at her education. She doesn't want anything that would disrupt her education. But here now, she couldn't get admission to university because the dad did not have money. So one of those problems that made this man to be in that mess, because this man did not have any partner around him, a partner that is accountable to. That's number one. Then number two, mentors. How many fathers have mentor? A mentor as well is someone who invests in you. A mentor as well is someone who can coach you. A mentor as well is someone who you are accountable to. I have seen some fathers who are great, but because they lack mentors, some challenges they face in life, no one could actually bring them out of it. Because when they are going brazenly in errors in a particular area, they are not accountable to anybody. They don't have a mentor. When you ask some fathers, some people, they say that I don't need a mentor. Why do I need a mentor? I don't need a mentor. Fine, you don't need a mentor. It's okay, no problem. But when the consequence, the intended and unintended consequences of your decision to displace, to underplay, to undervalue the place of mentorship in your life comes up, who bears the brunt? You bear the brunt. The same way happens to this man. Happened to him. He alone bore the brunt, but unfortunately, it wasn't him alone, right? He's a widower with 3 children. So the children are bearing the brunt together with him. So I have seen many situations like that. So when you see any man, when you see any father who tells you he doesn't have any mentor, please, maybe we need to begin to intercede on behalf of that man, that it is dangerous for you not to have a mentor. It is dangerous. So any man, any father that doesn't have a mentor is on a journey to perdition, is on a journey to destruction. But unfortunately, that destruction will not come upon himself alone. It will affect the wives, it will affect the children. So what do we do? Mentorship is so critical. Then the third point is inner circle. The third network, inner circle. Those who are closest to you, they are like family. Who are they in your life as a father? Any father that does not have this, you don't have any inner circle, the people that you can run to when you have any problem, you don't have a mentor, you don't have partners, people that you are accountable to, I bet it, when the challenges of life come through, you will be alone and nobody will be able to come there to rescue you. Nobody was able to rescue this man. He was out of job for solid 8 months. It was a global pandemic. It was a global phenomenon, global loss. People lost their job because of the COVID-19 pandemic, right? Nevertheless, if we belong to right network, the effect of that job loss will be minimal. This is what happened. All these stories that I mentioned here, these are the things, among other areas, among other strategies, that have helped me when I was facing the challenge of job loss, the challenge of business loss, patronage loss, almost nothing, right? These are the strategies that I employed. These are the strategies. During the lockdown, because of the relationship I have around me, a lot of things that I was offered. Many things that I was offered that I just began to look at myself like this. Wow, but during this lockdown, there was nothing. Why am I disfavored? Fine, we can still ascribe God's favor, God's merited favor to it. But hello, God is going to use somebody. God is not going to come down. What is our relationship like? What is our relationship like? What is our character like? So the kind of character and relationship that how we value the relationship and character in our life will determine the kind of network that will be attracted towards us. We attract who we are, not what we want. We attract who we are, not what we want. So the same way this man wanted to attract what he wanted, but unfortunately he attracted who he was. He was a lone ranger. He didn't have a partner, someone that is responsible to, someone that is accountable to. He didn't have no mentor. He was just staying aloof. He was, all those ones, they call themselves a free thinker. When you tell them about a mentor, they say, no, they don't have no inner circle, anything. So when you are bereaved of all these areas, your emotional fuel tank is going to be in red. But caveat emptor here. In the area of mentorship, please, I would advise fathers to pray effectively. If you're a Christian, pray. If you're a Muslim, pray. Almost everybody prays. Depends on who we pray to, right? I'm not going to say that it's not going to be like a blank check that every mentor is meant for you. It is not all mentors that are meant for you. Go for that mentor. Scrutinize, if it's possible, if I'm permitted to use that word. Know who your mentors are. We need to be so sure. Otherwise, I've been a victim of wrong mentorship before. So it's not like casting stone that, any mentor you just see, you jump on them. You just have to be really intentional about it, what you want, and allow the divine nature of God to really take this course in the choice of your mentorship. So the question now is this, and I'm rounding off the next 3 minutes while I take questions later. Now, let us reflect on this. After now, what I want all fathers to do is all your friends, write the names of the friends down, write the names of the association you belong to down, write the names of the WhatsApp group, every association, the relationship you have, write those names down. Now, rank them according to this level. Who is supposed to be in the level of partners? Don't forget, partners are peers who you travel with. They hold you accountable. They hold you accountable to every decision you make in life. It's a lot of wrong career decisions that we make that will eventually cause us job loss. So when you don't have those partners like that who can advise you on what to do, unexpected will always happen, or even expected will always happen. So rank them. Do they fit into partners? Then who are supposed to be your mentors among the names, among the people around you? Write the names down. And when you're talking about mentors, look, where do they fit in your life? There is no one that can be great in life without the person having a mentor. I studied this guy's lifestyle since 2014 date. I still study about him, Rafael Nadal. So if you are so conversant with my social media handles, you'll always see that I talk about him. A lot of books, that is no book that this guy has written or somebody had written about him that I don't have, especially about his family, about his parents. The kind of parenting style this guy lived up with is what the result of that quality parenting is what we are seeing in the life of that guy today. This guy has about 6 different coaches. We only know of one person. Used to be his uncle, Tony Nadal, but there's somebody else now. But this guy has another 5 solid coaches. It's because of the day, because he doesn't want his emotional fuel tank to be empty. So those are the mentors. The inner circle, what do? Those who are closest to you, they are like family. They may not be your mentors. They can be your mentor anyway. They may not be your partner. They can equally be your partners. But you need to know them inner circle. Anytime, maybe a business, a proposal just comes up like this, and you don't have the money, you just try to talk to them. This is what I have on my table. What do I need to do? My inner circle have helped me in great deal. I can't quantify how I've been so blessed by the inner circle I caught. And it's because of what I suffered before. When I did not have them, my emotional fuel tank was in red. The car grounded. The car grounded. The car grounded. So who are your inner circle? Your inner circle will bring in their expertise to bring you out of the dungeon of darkness, out of the dungeon of poverty, out of the dungeon of recklessness. Right? That is what the inner circle will do. So I round off now with all these 3 points that I've explained. For every father to have his emotional fuel tank fill up, you need 3 things: partners, mentors, and inner circle. Without all this, there are about 7, but I just brought about 3, which I believe this is what we need now. Right? There are about 7, but these 3, I believe, will still do a great job in the life of every father here listening, or that will still watch this video later. So please, let's forward it to them, that as much as fathers that we need, that we know that we need this, even youth, teenagers that we need it, let's forward it for them. There is an assignment. Please don't forget. It's a reflection. Let us reflect. Let's reflect on this. After now, write all the names of everyone in your network, everybody that you have, the group, the association you belong. Don't forget, write them and now fix them in these 3 boxes. Not until we do this, our emotional fuel tank will likely be in red. So I want to once again thank everybody who has joined here. Mr. Demola Akinbola, a great boss, a great Egbon. Thank you for coming on board. Mrs. Folashade Akinola, thanks for joining. Dr. Vivian Okoye, thank you for joining. My Auntie Joy, thank you. Finn, Auntie Joy is watching with us. Thank you, ma, for joining. I am Oluwadumininu. Thank you. God bless you for joining. Mr. Bonuslands, thank you for joining. Stylish Akinlami, Mrs. Kainde Akinlami, thank you for joining. Faintola of Lagos, I appreciate you. Oluwadumilola, thank you. Around Motors, thank you. I want to appreciate everyone who has joined me today. Please, if you have any question, let's post in the questionnaire, then I will respond to them immediately. Please don't forget the audio pack of my book I wrote in 2018. That lovely book, Daddy, Where Are You? The book that is doing excellently well, delivering homes, delivering fathers, changing the style of the father in a way that will suit the style of the children, because not until we do that, we may not get the best out of those children. All right, because what the Bible says to some of us that are Christian, what the Bible says is teach the child in the way the child will go, not the way the father will go. Right? How do we obtain the style for that, for the children that we have? That one, there are some scientific approaches to that. If you don't have that, there are some divine approaches to that. How to obtain what is that thing that is best for the child. You get all these strategies in that book. If you are interested in the audio part now, if you're interested in that audio part, please leave a message after now. Then I will get back to you. Thank you once again, everyone who has been part of this meeting today. Thank you. We have to go now. The video footage is still going to be here for us to digest and take some few points down here. Thank you once again to everybody who has joined this.